Anderson Silva, Uriah Hall, this weekend, baby. Oh yeah, what if Anderson Silva slapped your girlfriend's ass? Find out more later. Anderson Silva arguably is on everyone's top 5 for greatest fighter of all time. If you don't have him on your list, it's either because you omitted him because of steroid use or being busted for steroids, or you're just an idiot. One thing I think that goes missing from Anderson Silva's legacy, since he might retire after this fight, is the fact that he took so many risks. Fighting in multiple weight classes while he was middleweight champion is something you never see. You don't see John Jones moving up in weight while champion. You don't see GSP in his prime taking on multiple challengers at multiple weight classes, taking fights at the last second. You don't see Khabib doing the same thing. You never saw Khabib wanting to go to 170, even though he could easily make that weight. Khabib weighs around 190 pounds and kills himself to be able to make 155. That's one of the scariest dudes that has ever stepped foot in the octagon. Arguably the most dominant champion we've had, even though he only had 2 or 3 defenses. With that being said, what if you slapped your girlfriend's ass? You are a poor excuse for dating man. Alhamdulillah, I will exterminate you. That's the reason why the Second Amendment exists in the United States. For people like Khabib Nurmagomedov, if he hits on your girlfriend, there ain't shit you can do about it besides pull out a weapon, and even then, he'd probably is bulletproof, we'd probably find out. With that being said, Anderson Silva, he's a complete gentleman. A gentleman of the sport. After Chael Sonnen talked all that shit for 2 fights against him, he invites him over for a barbecue after he beats him. It's going to be unfortunate to say goodbye to Anderson Silva because I do held him in such high regard. When he was champion, you never saw anybody with that kind of skill level, and you asked yourself, is anyone even going to come close to beating this guy? Chael Sonnen looked like he had the answer, then choked at the last second. And then Uncle Chael in the second fight just absolutely got whooped. Anderson Silva is arguably the greatest fighter of all time. If he were to have retired after the Stephan Bonner fight, if he never fights Chris Weidman, we have a completely different look at him at the end of the GOAT conversation. A, he never gets popped for steroids. He never loses to Chris Weidman twice. And he never loses to Israel Adesanya. He never loses to Jared Cannonier. So that's about 5 losses off of his record right there. And he retires on top of his game. And he doesn't retire early, being 37 years old at that time. Now as a 45-year-old with those losses on his record, we always forget how good someone was. Everyone forgets how good Roy Jones Jr. was in his prime. Everyone forgets how good Evander Holyfield was in his prime. It's because these guys hold on for so long. But at the peak of his prime, Anderson Silva, I think he is the most dominant champion we've ever had. Because he has the body of work, the most title defenses that we've seen, and against the multiple weight classes where he just took a tremendous amount of risks. Anderson Silva, here's to you, brother. Please subscribe.